Welcome and good morning. My name is Marty Kochevar, Assistant Superintendent of Dinuba Unified. Today, we officially open the 2020-2021 school year. Under these special circumstances, we are hosting the opening in a virtual setting from the newly remodeled academic building at Dinuba High School. Sadly, we missed out on honoring employees last spring in our Excellence in Education event. As part of our revised format, we've invited 3 of our honorees to assist in today's opening. But first, let's start with our traditional school site roll call. Grandview, Jefferson, Kennedy, Lincoln, Roosevelt, Wilson, Washington Intermediate School, Sierra Vista, Ronald Reagan, and Dinuba High School. Our flag salute will be led by Willie Austin, Custodial Supervisor and recipient of the Excellence in Education Administrator of the Year for 2020.
Would you please join me in the flag salute? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And now, the singing of our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Though they could not be with us in person today, at this time, I would like to recognize our Board of Education President and trustees. Board President, Miriam Zendejas. Trustee, Bev Worrell. Trustee, Ron Fraze. Trustee, Sandra Kazarian. Trustee, Mary Villarreal. Recognizing our tenured teachers is Donna Schofield, retired 4th grade teacher from Lincoln Elementary and Excellence in Education recipient for Teacher of the Year 2020.
Under Ed Code 44929.22, Personnel, at the discretion of the governing board, every employee of the district who, after having been employed by the district for 2 consecutive school years in a position or positions requiring certification qualifications, is re-elected for the next succeeding school year to a position requiring certification qualifications, may, at the commencement of the succeeding school year, be classified as and become a permanent employee of the district. My heartfelt congratulations go out to the following tenured teachers: Nicholas Fernandez, Joy Haywood, Christine Johnson, Jessica Myrie, Linda Peak, Katrina Rios, Tamara Stiegel, and Jonathan Tabutal. Each of you has achieved a major accomplishment that will positively impact your life as well as the students of Dinuba Unified. Congratulations to all of you.
Announcing our permanent classified staff is Michelle Rivera, accounting technician at Dinuba High School and recipient of the Excellence in Education Employee of the Year for 2020.
The following employees will be permanent status this school year: Emma Rubio, Danelle Contreras, Rebecca Morota, Sabrina Gomez, Eva Cortez, Cynthia Granados, Stephen Vargas, Claudia Torres Mosqueda, Ermelinda Maldonado, Jolene Willis, Michelle Perez Nava, Presley Salinas, Alexa Harecki, Hippolita Sanchez, Joelle Torres Nunez, Destin Fletcher, and Noemi Alvarado. The following employees were hired in August 2019. Renee Harder, Alyssa Anguiano, Alicia Cisneros, Isabel Mendoza Velasquez, Maria Villegas, Myra Torres, Megan Rodriguez, Tanya Sandoval, Verdiana Lopez, Gabriela Venegas, John Trokey Jr., David Serpa, Jacqueline Cortez, Jeffrey Holmes, Jose Vela Maciel, Kayla Oliver, Monica Gosca, Wendy Stark, Claudia Salinas. Congratulations, employees.
Welcome back, everybody. Welcome to another school year here in Dinuba Unified School District. I'm standing here in front of Dinuba High School's main building. There's a lot of history in this building. There's lots of memories. Thousands of students have graced the halls and classrooms of this building through the years. However, it was showing the wear and tear of time, and it was time for this building to be remodeled. Ironically, because of this pandemic, we're going to have to remodel our instruction. We're going to have to find different ways of delivering instruction to our students and engaging our students. Let's take a tour of this building. One of the challenges we had in the remodeling was, how do we preserve all the class gifts and the murals that grace the walls of this building? And in the atrium, as you can see, we have our class gifts and murals that have been preserved so that future generations can enjoy them as well. Yes, one of the major goals of our remodeling was to make Dinuba High School a safer campus. With that in mind, we had the addition of 2 doors that lead into the main hallway. And we also have a window with a receptionist that will greet people. You cannot enter Dinuba High School's main building without going through these doors, which are always locked. This is our modernized library. As you can see, the books haven't been put back together yet. We're still organizing the library. But now it's got fresh carpet, new paint, large screen TV, and the floors don't squeak anymore. It looks really beautiful. So let's take a look upstairs. Another of the goals of the modernization was to retain some of the original aspects of this building, like our display cases and the configuration of the hall, but we do have fresh paint, new flooring, new doors, and contemporary colors. And now you're in one of our new classrooms. As you can see, we have a new ceiling have fresh paint, new windows, beautiful blinds, new carpeting. I can tell you this, that when we went through the ceiling, we actually found out that yellow was probably one of the original colors of this classroom at Dinuba High. I hope you've enjoyed a sneak peek at our modernized Dinuba High School main building. As you can see, we've restored this building to an incredible shape. It's looking like it was brand new. And that's my hope for this year, is that at some point in time that our students will come back, that all of our teachers will be here, that our school community will be able to come through these doors, and that we once again will be restored as an educational community. Last year ended so abruptly. It was about surviving. This year it won't be about surviving. It will be about thriving. Yes, we are starting off with distance learning, and there will be no in-person instruction, no fall sports, or in-person activities. I suppose we could all sit here and complain about the impact of this pandemic, but a colleague of mine keeps reminding me that life is 10% what happens to you and 90% how we respond to those events. During the last months of last year, I saw some incredible examples of creativity emerge from our teaching staff. I saw teachers making their own instructional videos. I saw a music teacher improvising to create music using the latest technology. While distance learning is certainly a challenge, it also creates new opportunities for learning. Do you really think that you could stop Mr. DeMenzel's band kids from playing music? Do you really think that a school closure can stop Martha Sawatsky from teaching her students new concepts? We will find new ways of engaging our students and connecting with them. Did you really think you can quench the emperor's spirit? I liken our present pandemic to a storm, a really big storm. This storm will eventually pass. No storm can snuff out the positive energy of the emperor's spirit. It will take creativity, perseverance, teamwork, caring for one another, we need to stay connected, and renewed hope and taking one day at a time. Last year we turned on the Claude Hebert Stadium lights on Fridays. It was a symbol or a beacon of hope that one day our students and school community would come back. We still have that hope and we yearn for that day, but until then, we will serve and connect with them in new ways. Dr. Derek Noble overcame years of speech therapy for a severe stutter and speech impediment to become an award-winning motivational speaker and trainer. Having been cited as one of the top 20 young speakers in America, Dr. Noble is no stranger to Dinuba Unified. He had conducted professional development for our classified staff with the message of delivering world-class customer service to those we serve. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Derek Noble.
The Los Angeles County Museum of Art, better known as LACMA, is one of the most famous art museums in the United States. They once ran a contest in a newspaper, providing a prize to the person that gave the best answer to the following question. Here's the question. If a fire broke out at LACMA, if a fire broke out at this museum and you could only save one painting, which painting would you save? Well, a young college student won the prize with this reply. I would save whichever painting is closest to the exit. Well, that's not quite the type of courage I want to speak about today. Today, I'm speaking about the courage we need moving into this new school year. A year unlike any other we have seen in modern history. Let's face it, folks, our world will probably never be the same. And like it or not, this is our new normal. See, I'm supposed to be there in Dinuba with you in person this week. But the reason why I am not is the same reason this school year will be completely different. A little thing called COVID-19. The coronavirus has changed everything, from our ability to travel, to the way we shop, to the way we interact with family and friends. Zoom, Google Teams, WebEx, we're doing this on Zoom and our training this week on Zoom. It's changed everything from the way we work to the way we dress. I mean, whoever thought that the face mask would become an essential part of our daily wardrobe? And coronavirus has even changed the way we teach. What makes matters worse is that we have been bombarded with so much misinformation and even contradictory information from the very beginning of this virus. Things like, masks are effective until they're not effective. This virus is airborne until, of course, we're unsure whether or not it is. It's safe to go outside until, of course, it isn't. And with all of this uncertainty comes very real fear. And with that fear also comes very real trauma. Many of us right now fear for our health and the health of our loved ones in ways that we never thought we would before. COVID-19 has left millions without jobs. It has sent billions into isolation and forced nearly everyone on earth to grapple with the feeling that they, or the ones that they love, are now suddenly physically vulnerable to this virus. Some of us and some of the people who are close to us have even lost loved ones. We know people who have lost their jobs, they've lost their businesses, and they're nostalgic for a time when we could simply live our lives normally without this new strain that COVID has caused in our daily life. We're also fearful of this new normal of distance learning. I mean, let's face it, distance learning is challenging and it can be less engaging for both educators and students. Distance learning is certainly less interactive, which can make the already challenging career of being an educator all the more challenging. And on top of all of those very real fears is the fear that there is more change to come. Change is already difficult for most of us to embrace, but knowing that there is more change, and that change is nearly impossible to predict, I mean, that creates stress, strain, strife, and even more fear. Our world has already changed significantly, and there seems to be no limit to the amount of change and disruption and upheaval that we can expect. And yet, this is also an exciting time to be an educator. Yes, you heard that right. This is, with all the stuff that's going on, an exciting time to be an educator for this simple reason. Listen closely. In challenging times, people do not care about your title or your position. In challenging times, people follow courage. Courage. The children of Dinuba and their families are not only looking for courageous educators, they're looking for those educators who can also inspire that same courage in them. Whether you are classified or in the classroom, the children of Dinuba and their families are looking for courageous educators, and they're looking for those educators who can inspire that same courage within them. And that's where you come in. Yes, COVID-19 is scary. Yes, COVID-19 has changed our world. Yes, COVID-19 has turned the teaching profession upside down. But today, you will be reminded of your own greatness. You have been called. You have been destined. You have been created to be an educator for such a time as this. My all-time favorite definition of a friend is as follows, and I've shared this with people for many years. A friend is one who knows the song in your heart and sings it back to you whenever you have forgotten the lyrics. So today, you're going to hear once again the song that you already know. And the lyrics are 4 simple words. You can do this. You can do this. COVID-19 may in fact be the biggest challenge we have all faced thus far, but also remember your track record of having faced down giants before. We faced impossible odds before and we're still here, right? You've done it before. Don't doubt yourself this time around. I'll repeat it because repetition is the parent of pedagogy. The lyrics to your song are 4 simple words. You can do this. As you daily meet the challenge to be your naturally courageous self, you are forever impacting the lives of children. You, and only you, can do this for the children of Dinuba. Today, you're going to leave with tools to sing your song once again. You will rediscover the superhero within you. You will face your fears head on and overcome them, and you will rise to the occasion and be the courageous educator that deep down inside you already know yourself to be. Take some notes, pay close attention, fasten your seatbelts. It's about to be a fun ride. This process is going to come to you in the form of 5 quick facts about courage, and then 5 practical ways to face your fears. Again, this is a journey we're about to take together. You're going to be given 5 quick facts about courage and 5 practical ways to face your fears, even in the midst of a COVID-19 world. Everybody ready? Ready to take some notes? If you're ready, say, bring it on, Derek. That was not nearly loud enough and not energetic enough. You can do this. Come on. If you're ready to be armed with the courage you need to overcome your fears this year, yell it to me, shout it to me. Bring it on, Derek. There we go. 5 quick facts about courage for those of you taking notes. Quick fact number 1, please write this down. Courage is a choice. Quick fact number 1, courage is a choice. Each day, we choose to be courageous. I want you to think of courage. I want you to think of courage as a door. Think of courage as a door with no handle on the outside. The only handle on this door is inside, and only you can access it. You have to open the courage door yourself. Courage is not something that is given to you. Hear me. Courage is not something that is given to you. Courage is a conscious choice you make. Speaking of superheroes, Christopher Reeve, anybody remember that name? Christopher Reeve? He played Superman on the big screen several times. Christopher Reeve said this, and I love this quote. Christopher Reeve said, either you decide to stay in the shallow end of the pool, or you go out into the ocean. I want you to repeat this after me. You may feel silly doing it, but I want you to repeat this after me. Since courage is a choice, please repeat this after me. Today, come on, say it louder and with more feeling. Today, right now, I choose to be courageous. That is the first step in this process. Courage comes after I acknowledge that I have to make a courageous, a conscious decision to face whatever comes my way with courage. Courage is not something that's given to you. Courage is a decision you make. Today and with this school year, I decide, I choose to be courageous. That's quick fact number 1. Quick fact number 2. Quick fact number 2 about courage for those of you taking notes. Principles and values are the foundations of courage. Not only is courage a choice, but secondly, principles, my values are the foundations of that courage. See, this is the fact, listen closely please, this is the fact that will keep you from giving up when times get tough. And trust me, times are going to get tough. They're already tough. But this is the fact, this second quick fact about courage is the fact that will keep you from quitting. Here it is. We can only be courageous when we become clear about what our foundational beliefs are. We can be courageous only when we become clear about what our foundational beliefs are. In other words, if you're ever tempted to quit this school year, if you're tempted to quit, if you're tempted to succumb to your fears, you have to remind yourself of what it is you truly believe that led you to choose education as a profession in the first place. I spoke to some burned out teachers recently. I was doing an in-service, just like I'll be doing with you on Wednesday. I was doing an in-service with a school district down south recently, and they were talking about, I was letting them talk and vent some of their complaints about the school district, and they were talking about the low pay, which is a reality. I'm a retired educator. Trust me, I understand. They were talking about the low pay. They were talking about parents who are impossible to please. They were talking about administrators who don't really seem to care. I'm sure those are not issues you have in Dinuba, but those were issues they were having down south in this school district. And as they were talking and complaining and venting, and I let them talk and complain and vent because I understand sometimes teaching and educating is a thankless job. But once they got done venting, I asked them this question. I said, can somebody tell me what it was that made you choose education as a profession? I mean, I know that you knew when you got into this profession that the hours were long, the pay was not great. I know you knew that, but there's something that made you decide to be an educator anyway. What was that? And all around the room, they started sharing one by one about the reasons why they got into education. They talked about the fact that, you know, I grew up poor in a bad school, and I understand the value of education. Or some of them said, you know, my parents were immigrants. I remember one person said, my parents and my grandparents were immigrants from Mexico. And they came over here and sacrificed so much so that I could have an opportunity to be the best that I could be. They sacrificed so that I could have an education. They drilled into me the importance of education. And all around the room, they started sharing, all of these teachers who had just been complaining about low pay and long hours, started sharing the reasons why they got into the teaching profession, or the reasons why they got into education in the district, or to become secretaries in the first place. And no joke, by the time they were done, there was not a dry eye in the place. What happened was simply they reconnected with what got them into education in the first place. Listen, for me, it is what was drilled into me in the teacher education program when I was getting my bachelor's degree. My teachers, my professors drilled this into us. This is the reason why I got into education. Now, you have to find your own reason, but here was the reason why for me. Every child can learn. Every child needs encouragement, and every child deserves respect. That was why I made the choice. You have to find yours. You have to find your principles. What is it that got you into this profession, this sometimes thankless profession, this sometimes underpaid profession? Find yours and remind yourself of it regularly, okay? Quick fact number 3, for those of you taking notes. Quick fact number 3, courage is not the absence of fear. To be courageous does not mean to never have fear. Courage is moving forward despite our fears. Knowing, watch this, knowing that there may be some failures during the process. And that's very important. There are going to be some failures. You have got to understand that this won't be all home runs this year with this new reality. You're not going to knock it out of the park all the time. It won't be all hits. There will be some misses along the way. There will be some problems, some bumps, some straight up failures along the way, as is always the case whenever we're doing something new and different. Courage is knowing that there's the possibility to fall and fail and mess up, and yet moving forward anyway. Courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is knowing that there's fear and the possibility of failure and moving forward anyway. And remembering quick fact number 2 will help you to do quick fact number 3. Remembering that one will help you to do this one. Remembering why you got into this profession in the first place will help you when times get tough. Quick fact number 4. Everybody ready? Quick fact number 4. Quick fact about courage. What we focus on expands. What we focus on expands. The best way I can illustrate this to you is by telling you a story of a good friend of mine. Good friend of mine named John Thompson. John Thompson is a retired NASCAR driver, and he lives in, is it Chattanooga? Yeah, he lives down south in Chattanooga, Tennessee. Well, one time I was visiting John. Now keep in mind, he is a retired NASCAR driver. One time I was down south, I was speaking in Chattanooga, and I knew my friend was there, so I decided to talk to him, and we ended up having dinner. So we were at his house, and I was watching, he was showing me a video of one of his previous NASCAR races. And I noticed on this video, I was watching John's car, I was watching the video, I was watching him drive, and I noticed that his car almost spun out of control, and it was headed toward a wall. John was headed full speed toward the wall, but I noticed at the very last second, he was able to turn his car away from the wall and get back onto the track and get back into the game. Now, I'm not a stock car racer, so instantly my curiosity was piqued. I leaned over to my friend and said, John, man, tell me what, I saw you headed toward the wall. Tell me what happened. How did you avoid crashing into the wall? He said, Derek, it's very simple. One of the first things you learn as a race car driver is wherever you focus is where you're going to go. He said, I knew I didn't want to hit the wall. I wanted to get back on the track. So even though my car was headed toward the wall, I turned my face toward the track. And while the car was moving this way, I was looking that way because I knew wherever I could focus was where I would end up going. So by focusing on the track, I was able to get back on the track. Do I need to tell you what that story really means? See, whatever you focus on will expand. If you focus on your fears will be bigger. If you focus on your courage will outweigh your fears. And then quick fact number 5. Quick fact about courage number 5. Courage is not something you store up. Courage is something you use up. I'll say that again. I think it bears repeating. Courage is not something you store up. Courage is something you use up. You see, courage requires ongoing action. Courage is not a one-time deal. So you act, and then you remind yourself of your foundation, which gives you the wherewithal to act again, and then you act, and then you remind yourself of your foundational principles, and then you act again, and then and on and on and on. You consciously make the choice. It's not something you store up. Courage is something you use up. Courage is an action word. Okay, you've got to use it regularly. Everybody have those 5 quick facts about courage? Okay, those are those 5 quick facts about courage. Shout them back out to me again. Quick fact number 1. Shout it out to me. Quick fact number 1. There you go. Courage is a choice. Quick fact number 2. Principles and values are the foundations of courage. Quick fact number 3. There you go. Courage is not the absence of fear. Come on, give me quick fact number 4. What we focus upon expands. And quick fact number 5. You got it. Courage is not something you store up. Courage is something you use up. Final key to getting past fear. And this is the big one. Remind yourself of your big why. Remind yourself of your big why. Sometimes, your big why, W-H-Y. Sometimes the best way to fight fear is to focus on your reason for confronting it. Is your goal bigger than your fear? For example, firefighters run into a burning building not because they are fearless. Firefighters run into a burning building because they have a calling that is more important than their fear. And their calling is, I rescue lives. Here's another example. My good friend Sheila, all of her life, she has been afraid of flying, afraid of getting on an airplane. But last year, she decided to confront her fear, not because the fear had vanished. She decided to confront her fear because a meeting with her new grandchild awaited her at the end of the flight. She was scared to death of flying, but she had a new grandbaby and she wanted to see her new grandbaby. So in spite of that fear, she got on that plane because seeing her new grandbaby was bigger than her fear. See, now this is not one that I can give to you. You have to supply your own why. But you can do this. What's your big why? What's your big motivation? Her name was Mrs. K, Ruth K, K-A-Y, and she was my 5th grade teacher. When I was a 5th grader, I discovered that public school teachers in the city of Little Rock did not get paid a whole lot of money. Now, I was kind of radical and militant even when I was a kid. So when I found out just how little school teachers got paid, I was angry. I went to my 5th grade teacher and I said, Mrs. K, it's not fair. You're here before school starts. You stay with us after school starts. You go above and beyond. You're the best teacher I've ever had. And they don't pay you anything. You get paid peanuts. Why are you still teaching when they don't pay you enough? And I will never forget her answer when I asked her what her why was. Mrs. K said, baby. Now, this is down south in the 80s. You can't get away with calling people baby these days. But down south in Arkansas, everybody called everybody baby and sweetheart. Mrs. K said to me, baby, do you remember when you were crying because you couldn't figure out how to do fractions? I said, oh, yeah, I remember that. I hated doing fractions, and I would cry because I was just bad at math. She said, I remember it, too. Do you remember when you finally figured out how to do fractions? I said, yeah, I do. She said, do you remember the look on your face? Do you remember the way you looked at me once you finally figured out how to do fractions? I said, yes, Mrs. K, I do. She said, baby, that look is the reason why I teach. I can't give this one to you, folks. You have to find your own why. Find your own why. I close our time together with a quote from my favorite hero, one of my heroes, Nelson Mandela. Nelson Mandela years ago said, I learned that courage was not the absence of fear, but the triumph over it. The brave person is not the one who does not feel afraid. The brave person is the one who conquers that fear. Your song is, you can do this. Have a great school year, and I expect some success stories. Call me, email me. I expect some success stories from you all. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Noble, for your inspiring words and for helping us to kick off our school year on such a positive note. Thank you, everyone, for attending. Enjoy your breakout sessions, and we hope you have a wonderful year.